The full release of Sons of the Forest is here, and with it will bring a massive wave of new players that don't know what they're doing. Hi guys, welcome to my Sons of the Forest Beginner's Guide. In this video, you'll receive all the necessary tips, tricks and strategies that you need to survive and thrive in this unforgiving survival game. Whether you're new to the game or a seasoned veteran, this guide is perfect for you. From crafting and exploring to combat and companions, it's all covered. So grab your axe and get ready to delve into the world of Sons of the Forest. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more guides and gameplay. Okay, let's get straight into it, and tip number 1 is to explore the area and find an ideal base location. You're going to want somewhere that's near fresh water. You won't survive for very long without water in this game, so make this a priority. Placing your tent down near fresh water at the beginning is a great start to the game. To access your tent, you'll need to use a tarp and a stick. Hover over the tarp in your inventory and place it on the ground, then hover over a stick and place it in the corner of the tarp. This will make a quick tent that you can take down at any point if you decide to relocate later in the game. Tip number 2 is to remember to open your survival pack that you get when you spawn into the game. It's found in your inventory and contains your axe, which is your only method of getting logs and fighting enemies at the start of the game, as well as your GPS map, a lighter and a guidebook. Get familiar with these items and remember that you can keybind the axe by hovering over it and pressing 1 or any other number on your keyboard to bind it to that key. Tip number 3 is to pick up materials you find lying around. It's important to gather up any rocks, sticks, berries or any other item that you find lying around in Sons of the Forest. These can be used to craft essential things like a campfire or a spear to help make your first night on the island a bit easier. Storage boxes throughout the map contain valuable crafting materials that shouldn't be missed. Tip number 4. Be aware of your surroundings. I can't count how many times I've walked into an enemy camp or been ambushed on my travels in Sons of the Forest because I wasn't paying attention. The enemies in this game can hide and jump out at you. Being aware of your surroundings is essential so you don't end up surprised. It may be easier to avoid combat altogether at the beginning of the game and stick into hiding in the bushes so that when you do fight some enemies, and you will eventually fight some enemies, you are prepared and more likely to win. Tip number 5, remember to keep an eye out on your survival needs. Hunger, thirst and rest are important because they can impact your character in a variety of ways. You can starve or become dehydrated. When you're tired, your energy drops and you may be unable to defend yourself from an attack. Taking care of your survival needs will make sure you're at the top of your game every time you need to be. Tip number 6, remember to utilise Kelvin, your friendly AI companion. Kelvin can be recruited right at the start of the game and should absolutely be used to his full potential. He can help you gather materials, point out nearby enemies and maintain your base when you're focused on other tasks. Kelvin is an asset that should not be overlooked and should be utilised at all times. Just remember to give him some rest or he'll get moody. Tip number 7, speaking of bases, make sure to build an early base as soon as possible. It's important that you have a home base in Sons of the Forest where you can rest and take shelter from outside enemies. Establishing this early will set you up nicely for when you begin to explore the rest of the island. It gives you a safe-ish place to store items, rest and recover from attacks by the enemies. Bases can be built by chopping down trees with your axe and placing them on the ground to form foundations and walls. You can then cut the logs further once placed to create windows and doorways. Placing logs vertically on the ground will allow you to build a large fence around your base for extra defense. Once you've built your base, it's time for tip number 8, explore. Begin exploring by following the GPS markers on your GPS map. These point to key locations where you can get key items to aid you in your journey. The road ahead won't be easy, so you should absolutely prepare to encounter some pretty tough enemies who can give you a hard time if you're not prepared. Tip number 9, pay attention to your strength stat. This is the icon next to your survival stats that will gradually increase throughout the game. Completing more physical tasks, such as chopping down trees and placing logs, will increase this stat. Having a higher strength stat will give you a higher damage output when attacking enemies in the game. And finally, tip number 10, remember to explore the area, not just get focused on the story. There's plenty on offer in Sons of the Forest. There are many caves in the game that are not tracked on your map, so it's important to take time to explore the area. As well as caves, there are plenty of things to do above the ground, such as enemy camps and beautiful landscapes. Sons of the Forest is a challenging survival game that can easily punish an unprepared player. With these tips in mind, you'll be well on your way to conquering the forest and surviving whatever challenges come your way. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more Sons of the Forest guides and gameplay videos.